This is the Into the Paddock podcast.
We're going to talk about Indy 500 qualifying, which very quickly, as the years have been going on, is becoming probably one of my favourite weekends of motorsport of the whole year. The way the 500 qualifying works is just fantastic. And as a brief aside, we know the IndyCar charter agreement is getting closer and closer to being fulfilled. I am so glad that talks of locked-in spots to the 500 has gone, because IndyCar should never mess with this format for Indy 500 qualifying. It was electric this weekend.
Yeah, it definitely makes it part of the crown jewels of motorsports events. Like we all get excited for IndyCar qualifying and bump day, specifically with all the drama that entails, and then also just the pole runs that we'll get to later, just exhilarating in the utmost degree. You know, like the only other qualifying session I can think that gets close to this, well, not even close, but is similar to this kind of excitement, is the Bathurst 1000 qualifying, where you see those guys throwing it over the mountain. These guys, just as daredevilish, and one of them also conquered the mountain. You know, so it's definitely befitting for the caliber of drivers that are involved in it.
And I just love how it builds and builds as it goes on. You know, you get all the practice. They're on all day, as you said, Greg, and sad people like me can spend the entire time watching every single lap to try and glean every bit of knowledge from it. It's great. And then you build up into qualifying. The boost goes up. The consequences get higher. Everyone's on the edge, and then you got the bumping. Then you got the fast. I love the addition of over the last few years of the fast 12 and the fast 6. I love how that continues to just build up the pressure more and more. And now, you know, just a couple of hours ago, we record on a Monday. We had the penultimate practice session. Then you got 2 hours of practice, I think, on carb day. I should know because we're going to be there. I love everything about how the 500 builds up. It's such a special event. It really is, as you said, JD, befitting of one of the crown jewel events. You know, it's similar to how Le Mans builds up with all the practice sessions, and it builds that crescendo. Monaco doesn't quite lead up to it in the same way, which is well, you can't blame them. It's Formula One. So from there, we move on to the Fast 12 that happened. Well, the Fast 12 happened before the last row shootout, and then the Fast 6 to determine pole position happened shortly thereafter. And after day one, everyone's eyes were on Penske. My God, I have not seen for a long time, perhaps for as long as I've been watching the Indy 500, which retrospectively hasn't been that long, I haven't seen one team show up with this dominant of a package in that time. Penske look absolutely planted. And sure enough, Will Power called his shot, I think, in beginning of April, saying that he thought the Penske were guaranteed a spot on the pole position. They ended up locking out the front row for the first time in 36 years when they last did it in 1988, I believe it was. And the order was Joseph Newgarden in third, Will Power in second, and Scott McLaughlin, now an Indy 500 pole sitter. And that final run, from all three of them actually, but particularly from Scott McLaughlin, that pole run, literally record-breaking. It's now the fastest Indianapolis 500 pole run that has ever been. Not to be confused with the qualifying record, which still belongs to Arie Luyendyk, but that wasn't for the pole. That was in one of the other sessions. It didn't beat that. But 234.2 miles per hour across all 4 laps.
Jesus Christ.
My God, what a run that was. Penske look scary.
Scotty Mack does what Scotty Mack does. This man set the first 2-minute, 3-second lap at the Bathurst 1000 5 years ago. That lap, called Second Lap of the Gods, is still on YouTube. It is phenomenal to watch with him 2 wheels in the grass. Now this man, 5 years later, sets the all-time qualifying record at the Indianapolis 500. People need to put more respect on Scotty Mack's name. Yes, he is great with fans, great with people. He's hilarious and funny. But this man is a generational talent and extremely adaptable to go from V8 supercars to IndyCar, become an IndyCar winner, now Indy 500 pole sitter in a discipline he's never had experience with before. Put him in any other racing category, he is phenomenal. Same as SVG, same as any other elite top-level driver you can think of. Scotty Mack is one of these special drivers, and he's not being celebrated enough. Regardless, like, yes, Kyle Larson's a big name that everyone's hyping up in America, but Scotty Mack pulling this off, this is a warning shot and a half across the bow for everybody in every motorsport, that this man is elite.
He really is, and you're right. This is what makes it so impressive. We'll talk about Kyle Larson in a moment, and I feel like what Kyle has done this weekend also does need to be celebrated. But so many people don't talk enough about Scott McLaughlin in the same conversation with regards to these people who are plug and play drivers who you can put in any situation and they will thrive. And Scott McLaughlin almost certainly is that. To be a Bathurst 1000 pole sitter and an Indy 500 pole sitter, that's utterly unthinkable. I think if you told Scott McLaughlin this 5 years ago, he would have probably laughed at you. So it's an incredible achievement. The run he did was superb, and yes, it was aided by an incredibly beautifully driving car. Like, all three Penskes look absolutely amazing, but to beat Will Power, IndyCar's most successful qualifying driver in history, and Joseph Newgarden, last year's winner of the 500, both of his teammates 500 winners and extremely capable on ovals in particular, for McLaughlin to beat the pair of them in what many people are saying are almost identical race cars, which hats off to Penske for producing three almost identical race cars. That's almost unheard of. For McLaughlin to beat them both with all of that is huge.
Hopefully he can pull it off, get the win, come home, douse the suit in milk, be stinky for the day, right? Like, I hear that's terrible, by the way. I hear that's like one of the best / worst experiences in motorsport is like doing the milk dousing at the end, because nobody told you you're about to be in that suit for the next 5-6 hours doing media.
I'm pulling from, and I'm sure many people are pulling for Scotty Mack. I mean, I couldn't be happier if he won the Indy 500. But like, again, just watching his run, if you watch it on YouTube, like, it is exhilarating to watch. He's put up monster lap after monster lap. He was hitting 234 every lap except for the final one. His car didn't die. Everyone had some fade in their car. He was pulling 241 at the end of the straights. That's disgusting. Like, we're gonna be there next week. I'm not mentally prepared to see these cars going that quickly. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. So, yes, Scotty Mack, put respect on his name. I need to buy some Scotty Mack merch.
This is the Into the Paddock podcast.